I grabbed my purse, called my mom to watch the girls, and drove to the police station with my thoughts racing. What had Addison done? At the station, Detective Harrison met me in the lobby. He was in his 40s. He looked like a man who had seen it all. "Mrs. Anderson, thank you for coming," he said. "Please follow me." He led me into a small interview room. There was a stained table, uncomfortable chairs, and a mirror on one wall that was clearly two-way glass. "Your husband has been arrested," Harrison said as he sat across from me, "for insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and identity theft." I let my face show confusion and shock. "What?" I said. "I don't understand." "Mrs. Addison Jackson came to us," he explained. "She brought evidence that your husband planned to fake his death for insurance money. She provided text messages, financial records, and recorded conversations. She's fully cooperating with our investigation." My head was spinning. Addison hadn't gone to a lawyer. She had gone straight to the police. She had gotten there before I did. "I had no idea," I whispered, which was technically true. I had no idea she would go to the authorities. "We understand," Harrison said gently. "We've reviewed your finances. Your husband has been moving money without your knowledge. All of his accounts have been frozen. We're also working with the insurance company to make sure you're protected." "Can I see him?" I asked. "Not right now," he said. "He's being processed." "But I need to ask you a few questions," he continued. "Did you have any knowledge of his plans?" I looked him straight in the eye. "I knew he was having an affair," I said. "I found out a few weeks ago. But I didn't know about this," I added. "Not about the fraud. Not about any of it." Another technical truth. I had known, but only recently. And I could prove it. I had the pocket dial recording. I had everything Jason had gathered. I was protected. Harrison questioned me for another hour. I answered honestly. I gave him the recording. I let him go through my phone and my emails. By the time I left the station, it was late evening. Ryan was being held without bail. Addison was under investigation but cooperating. And I was officially listed as a victim. The perfect victim. I drove home in a fog, barely believing it had worked. Barely believing Addison had done the work for me. My phone rang. It was Rebecca. "Kayla," she said, "I just heard from the district attorney's office. They want to interview you about Ryan's case." "I already talked to the police," I said. "This is different," Rebecca replied. "They're building a criminal case. They want you to testify." "About what?" I asked. "About the marriage," she said. "The finances, Ryan's behavior. They want to establish a pattern." She paused. "There's more. The prosecutor told me that if Ryan goes to trial and is convicted, you may be able to sue him. For fraud, for intentional infliction of emotional distress, for breach of fiduciary duty. We're talking potentially millions." I pulled my car over to the side of the road. "Millions?" I repeated. "Yes," she said. "And the house is in both your names, but if he's convicted of fraud, you could potentially get it outright in the divorce. The same goes for his retirement accounts. And the life insurance policy won't pay out because of the fraud," she added. "But you may be able to void it and recover the premiums." "What about Addison?" I asked. "She's cooperating," Rebecca said. "She might avoid charges if she fully testified against Ryan." That was a smart move on her part. After I hung up, I sat in my car for a long time. Addison had saved herself, and by doing that, she had completely destroyed Ryan. I had wanted to be the one to do it. I had planned everything down to the smallest detail, but in the end, she got there first. And honestly, I wasn't even angry. Few days later, my phone rang from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. "It's Addison," she said. I pulled my car over again. I seem to be doing that a lot lately. "Hi," I said carefully. "I know you probably hate me," she started. "I don't hate you," I said. "I'm sorry." "For everything," she continued. "For the affair, for getting pregnant, for being stupid enough to believe his lies." "Why did you go to the police?" I asked. She was quiet for a moment. "Because of what you said," she replied, "about him setting me up." "I went to a lawyer that same day," she said, and she showed me the paper trail. Everything was in my name, she continued. The apartment lease, the bank account in Costa Verde. Even the fake IDs, she said. They had my name on them, not his. He was planning to blame me the whole time. So you turned him in? I said. I turned us both in, she replied. I told them everything. I gave them all the evidence. My lawyer said if I cooperated, I might avoid prison, she added. Probation, maybe community service. I have a baby to think about now. What are you going to do? I asked. I'm moving back in with my parents, she said. I'm going to have this baby and figure out my life. Ryan wants nothing to do with us now, she added. He told his lawyer the baby isn't even his. Of course he did, I said. I'm sorry, Addison said again. I know it doesn't fix anything, but I am. You didn't deserve this, she said. Your kids didn't deserve this. No, I agreed. They didn't. For what it's worth, she said. You were right about him. About everything. He doesn't love anyone but himself. After we hung up, I sat there, thinking about betrayal and karma, and how sometimes the universe handles revenge better than we ever could. Ryan's trial was scheduled for 6 months later. In the meantime, I filed for divorce. My lawyers prepared paperwork that gave me everything: the house, the kids, full custody, child support, alimony. Ryan's lawyer tried to fight it, but it's hard to argue for your rights when you're sitting in jail for fraud. After the divorce trial was over, I took Lily and Haley out for ice cream. They didn't understand everything that was happening. I told them their dad had made some bad choices and had to go away for a while. They were sad, but kids are strong. We sat in the park eating ice cream when Haley looked at me. Is Daddy ever coming home? She asked. I don't know, baby, I said honestly. But we're going to be okay, I promise. Are you sad? Lily asked. Sometimes, I said, but mostly I'm relieved. What does relieved mean? She asked. It means I'm not scared anymore, I said. It means we're safe. They seemed satisfied with that and went back to their ice cream. Ryan's trial lasted about a month. I testified for 3 full days. I talked about the pocket dial, about finding the evidence, about the hidden money, about Addison, the baby, and the fake death plan. I watched Ryan while I was on the stand. He never looked at me. He stared at the table the entire time, his jaw tight, his hands folded. The jury deliberated for 7 hours. They found him guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison. The judge ordered restitution to the insurance company, to me, and to Addison. His assets were seized. His financial advisor license was taken away. His reputation was ruined. Everything he had built was gone, just like he had planned to do to us. I didn't feel victorious when the verdict came in. I just felt exhausted, empty, ready to move forward. There was one last thing left. 7 months after Ryan went to prison, I received a letter from him. It came through my lawyer. In it, he apologized. He said he had made terrible choices. He said he understood why I hated him. He said he hoped one day the girls would forgive him. He didn't ask me to forgive him. He didn't make excuses. He just said he was sorry. I read the letter 4 times. Then I put it in a file box with all the other divorce papers. Maybe one day I'd show it to Lily and Haley. Maybe I wouldn't. Then I did something I had been thinking about for months. I took the money I was awarded from the lawsuit against Ryan. Not the fake death insurance policy, which had been voided. I had sued him for the money he stole from our accounts. I won almost $400,000. I could have kept it, used it for the house, for college, for myself, but I didn't. I split it in half. I kept half for Lily and Haley's education, and I sent the other half to Addison. My lawyer thought I'd lost my mind. Rebecca called me and said, "Kayla, you don't owe her anything. She slept with your husband." "I know," I said, "but she also saved us." "If she hadn't gone to the police, Ryan might have pulled this off," I said. "We might have spent years believing he was dead. The girls would have grown up without a father and without the truth." "She did the right thing in the end." "She's pregnant with his baby," I continued. "That child is Lily and Haley's half-sibling." And that baby deserves a chance at a decent life, even if their father is garbage. Rebecca was quiet for a moment. "You're a better person than I am," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm just tired of being angry." I sent the money to Addison with a short note. It said, "For the baby. Good luck." She called me 2 weeks later, crying. "Why would you do this?" she asked. "Because we were both hurt by the same man," I said. "Because you could have stayed silent and didn't. Because your baby deserves better than what Ryan would have given." "I don't deserve this," she said. "Maybe not," I replied, "but your child does." We talked a lot that day. It was awkward and strange, but it was also healing. We weren't friends. We would never be friends. But there was an understanding between us. She had her baby 5 months later, a girl. Addison named her Olivia. She sent me a photo of her. I showed it to Lily and Haley and told them they had a little sister somewhere out there. Maybe one day they'd meet her. They were curious, but not upset. Kids handle things differently than adults. About half a year after the trial, I went on my first date. His name was Ethan, a doctor at the hospital. He already knew my story, everyone in town did, but he asked me out anyway. We had dinner and talked about everything except Ryan. It felt good. We went on a second date, then a third. Eventually, Ethan met Lily and Haley. He was patient, kind. He never tried to replace their dad. He just wanted to be a positive presence in their lives. 3 years after Ryan went to prison, Ethan and I got married. It was a small ceremony with family and close friends. Lily and Haley were flower girls, dressed alike, giggling as they scattered petals down the aisle. Ryan sent something for them later. Ethan legally adopted the girls a year afterward. They kept Ryan's last name, but added Ethan's as a second surname, by choice. Ryan got out of prison after 7 years. Within 4 months, he violated parole and went back for another 2 years. When he finally got out the second time, he was different, broken, humbled. He had lost everything: his career, his family, his freedom, his reputation. He asked to see Lily and Haley. By then, they were 13 and 11. I let them decide. They wanted to see him. We met at a park. Ethan stayed with me while Ryan sat on a bench about 60 feet away. I watched, tense, ready to step in if necessary. But Ryan just listened. The girls spoke. He didn't defend himself. He didn't make excuses. He didn't ask for forgiveness. He just listened. After 2 hours, they returned to us. Lily hugged me tight. Haley asked if we could get ice cream. "Was it okay?" I asked in the car later. "He seemed sad," Lily said. "Is he still our dad?" Haley asked. "Biologically, yes," I said carefully, "but Ethan is your dad too. You can have both, or just one. It's your choice." They decided on twice-a-month visits, supervised. Sometimes Ethan went with them, sometimes my mom. I never went. I didn't need to see Ryan anymore. That part of my life was over. But nobody tells you how betrayal, revenge, and moving on really work. It's not like the movies. There's no dramatic, perfect moment, no scene where the bad guy gets exactly what they deserve and you ride off into the sunset feeling vindicated. Real life is messier. Yes, Ryan lost everything, but he's still alive. He's still my children's father. He's still part of our story, even if he isn't part of our daily lives. Addison raised Olivia in West Virginia. We exchange Christmas cards. The girls FaceTime with Olivia sometimes. It's unusual, but it works. Ethan is a good man. He loves me and the girls. We're building a life together. Sometimes late at night I think about that pocket dial, the moment everything changed, how close Ryan came to succeeding, and I realize he didn't get caught because I was clever, or because I outsmarted him. He got caught because Addison refused to be used. Addison saved us both. Maybe that's the real ending. Not revenge, not justice, not karma, just one woman choosing not to be a victim, and in doing so, saving another woman from the same fate. We didn't plan it. We didn't coordinate. We weren't friends or allies. But in the end, we each chose ourselves. We chose survival over complicity. Ryan? He chose nothing. He bet everything on a plan that required everyone else to be dumber than him, and he lost. Last I heard, he works at a call center for minimum wage, lives in a studio apartment, takes the bus to parole meetings, sees the girls once a month at a supervised facility. He tells people he made mistakes. He doesn't tell them he tried to fake his own death to steal $3 million in insurance. That story would make him look far worse than he wants. But I know the truth. Lily and Haley know the truth. Addison knows the truth. Olivia will know it when she's old enough. And Ryan has to live knowing everyone who matters knows exactly who he is. That's not everything I could have had, but it's enough. 4 years ago, my husband tried to vanish, to become a ghost, a memory, a tragedy. Instead, he became a cautionary tale, and I became the woman who survived him. That's my story. No moral, no lesson, just the truth. Sometimes the worst thing someone does to you is the best thing that ever happens. If Ryan hadn't betrayed me, I'd still be trapped in that marriage. Still living a lie, still married to a man who valued money over his own children. Instead, I'm free. The girls are happy. Ethan is a loving partner. We have a life full of normal, ordinary, beautiful moments. Ryan? He has prison stories and regrets. And I know which life I'd choose, every single time. Would you be able to do this with your family? I look forward to your comments.